Welcome to Made in Ely, where we chat to local business owners about what they're building and how they're doing it, recorded here at Ely Work Collective. Today's guest is Luana. Hi Luana, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you guys? Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, you're very, very welcome. So just to kick off, so for those of you who don't know you, don't know what you do, tell us a little bit about that. What do you do and what do you do in Ely?
Well, I'm a photographer. I own 2 photography businesses. And I would say that one is the most traditional one, which is where I do weddings, corporate, proposal, events. And the other one is my baby. It's my mega passion, which is intimate portraiture and branding.
Wow.
Amazing. So before we dive too deep into what you're doing now, where did it all start? Where did the photography passion kind of begin, and how did you start this journey into becoming a photographer?
From a very young age, I think my dad was a very good photographer. Just as a hobbyist, he never turned it into a job. Yeah. But it was shoot on film when I was young. And I remember I always wanted to play with it. And it was like, no, because film's expensive. You don't know what you're doing. I was like, fair enough. But I always really liked it. I think I probably got it off my dad.
Yeah.
And then when I was a bit older, and I had got my first camera, I started going to music gigs, then I started going to like film festivals. So I kind of learned the ropes on the field.
Yeah.
And I just never really stopped.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can imagine like that. It's one of those things that kind of passion just grows as you're doing it as well. Like you say, as you kind of learn more and different types of photography and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's also like there's always a challenge. Yeah. Because technology is like more and more advanced every year. Yeah. And that in a way makes it easier, but also it makes it like harder because then now it's so accessible. A lot of people do it. So you have to find like your ways to, it's really hard. It's kind of like the challenge, I guess, it's staying true to who you are and finding what works for you and what makes your like creativity tickle.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess when in those early days, it was kind of very much a hobby, similar to your dad, as you were kind of getting your feet into it. When did that change? So when did you kind of then think, gosh, I can really turn this into a business. I can really, I can turn my passion into a business.
It did take quite a while. I started doing little jobs when I was at uni. So I have a degree in visual and performing arts. Wow. I got it in Venice, so back home in Italy. And I was doing little jobs like for other people. You like pay like €50 a day. I'm not even joking.
God,
literally.
Bargain. God.
Yeah, bargain. Yeah, €50 a day. So I was like kind of, wetting my feet. Is that a saying in English?
Yeah.
Does it kind of make sense?
It does. I can't think what.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll go. Yeah. We'll go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With working.
Dipping your feet in, sorry.
Dipping my feet in.
Yeah,
there you go, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
I was
so
like,
much.
in my head, I was like, come on, Catherine. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
And then I got my degree. I moved to England and I wanted to be a photographer in film.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to work as a stills photographer on set. That was my dream.
Wow.
To the point that I actually gave my CV to Tim Burton.
Oh, wow.
At one point. He was very lovely about it. Never got a call, but he was lovely, which is good. Which is good. And then, I kind of like did it on the side for a long time, the same way that probably a lot of people that are freelance do it, it's quite daunting to just go full steam ahead into a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I did it on the side for a long time, and then I took the plunge and went full time now 3 years ago.
Wow. What was that leap like? So when you kind of made that decision, okay, 3 years ago, I'm going to go full time. Terrifying, or?
Yes, it was quite terrifying. It's also like something that didn't really happen super organically. I was working for a startup, in a managerial job, so something quite different. Yeah. But I had been doing more and more work as a photographer as well. I changed my whole kit, and I was kind of getting into really loving it again. And the company that I worked for closed down.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm getting a nice redundancy pay. I got all a new kit. I've been getting more clients. Should I just go and do it? And I just did it.
Wow.
So
amazing.
yeah, there wasn't really a huge plan behind. So, it was quite tough to kind of like, especially to begin with.
Yeah.
But I still think it was the best thing. It was the best choice to take for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes these things just happen for a reason, and the kind of the stars align in that respect to know that was the time you had to take that leap. I know that obviously when I first went freelance during COVID, it was the same thing. Like my company made us all redundant because of the nature of what was going on during COVID, and it was like I can either go into a highly competitive employment market and try and find a job when everyone else is trying to find a job, probably get undercut on salary because companies know that people are desperate, or I can take that leap of what I want to do and go into freelance work and make it work. And it either does or it doesn't. But the good thing is you at least took the leap and went for it. And it's now, you're doing all sorts. So clearly it was the right choice to make at the right time.
100%. I feel the same. I think it was also the fact that it was at a point in my life when I was 33, I think. That sounds about right.
We'll go with that.
We'll go with that. And it was kind of like almost like a now or never in a way. Like things can change your life at every age.
Yeah.
But I was also in a situation where I'm like, you know what, I don't really have any children yet. Yeah. I have a partner that can support me. Yeah. And in a way, like I'm the only person I'm accountable for. Mm-hmm. So doing it now is probably my best shot in a way. Like if I do it now and I give it my all, let's say it doesn't work out, at least I tried. Exactly. And I know that I tried on my terms, I stayed true to myself. I did it in a way that worked for me. And then if things change in the future, I might have kids and maybe it's not going to work the same way or anything. Or I find a 9-to-5 job I'm absolutely super passionate about, very unlikely, but you never know. That's fine. But I really, really tried.
And you did it. Yeah, that's the key bit is you did it. You're not going to look back thinking, I wish I'd done it. You have done it. You're doing it. So that's the key bit.
Yeah. One thing I would say then, so obviously like making that leap for people that are listening and kind of like, do I do it? Obviously there's lots of things as well in that decision, circumstances. Is there anything looking back at that point now? Is there anything that you, something that you know now that you wish you'd have known at that point? Anything kind of sort of lessons, I guess, really?
Yes. There are so many hats to wear. It's not that I didn't know it, but sometimes, especially when you're kind of like excited, like I said, like it was almost like not an overnight decision, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Yeah. Right. You're excited. So you're not thinking about, I'm going to have to be an accountant. I'm going to have to be a marketing manager. I'm going to be a social media content creator. I'm going to have to be like an admin person. It's all the things that you have to do in a way. Maybe at the beginning, I was so excited that I didn't really realize the scale of it. Yeah. So
it just feels quite daunting, doesn't it? I think sometimes it's like, you can be amazing at that skill and that thing, photography, amazing. But it's all of those other elements around it that suddenly then can feel quite overwhelming, I think.
I was going to say, we were talking about this earlier this morning with some people that it's great kind of going into your passion and making your passion your career. But on the flip side, the very brutal reality is that especially early on, you're only actually doing your passion side of it for maybe 10%, 20% of the business, because the rest of it is your admin, your accounting, your marketing, your planning ahead, all that kind of stuff. And it's not until you're at that point where that great position where you can start to farm that work off to other people that you can then increase that percentage back from the minimal to maximum kind of thing. But it's a tough lesson for everyone. So we found that here as well. Like, we love doing what we do, but a lot of our time is spent doing stuff we don't love doing. But it has to be done because otherwise it wouldn't work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very lucky in that aspect, as in coming from a marketing background. The majority of what we're doing at the moment is marketing, so I feel very lucky. But like you say, if that's not your background and you're having to wear that hat and having to like learn a lot of that process before you even then start doing it as well, it's like all of these other skills you've got to kind of build at the same time, haven't you? And
it's also different when you're working for someone else and it's your own business, because like I do principal branding photography. I help people with their branding. I ask them about the brand, who the target audience is, all these things. Yeah. And I'm amazing at it. I have a background in sales. Yeah. Used to make sales no problem. Yeah. But as soon as your thing, And technically, you're not necessarily getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much harder.
Yeah.
Because, the thing is, when you have a 9 to 5 or whatever, like a regular job, a regular salary in sale, let's say, you're making other people money, but at the end of the day, if you do anything wrong or if you waste a week doing nothing for whatever reason, you got your salary in the bank at the end of the month anyway. But obviously, when it's your own business, obviously a lot of people would just like second guess every single decision they make, or think like, am I wasting time doing this one thing instead of that one thing? It's so much harder to take decisions.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think it's yes, it's kind of that challenge. Also, you take it a lot more personally. I think when when it's your own as well, you're everything feels feels that bit more personal. How have you dealt with that? How have you found the magic answer for that side?
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think the longer I do what I do, the more I come to realize sort of like who I am as a brand. And it took me a while to understand that I was my brand because of what I do and because of how personal it is. Like, people hire me for me, sometimes even before my photography.
Yeah.
Like, if I go to, I don't know, if I take photos at a wedding, for example, like there are gonna be so many people at that wedding coming up to me and be like, "You're doing a great job," or like, "Are you having a nice time?" Because they genuinely connect with me, they genuinely like me, Or if I'm doing photos with obviously someone like in the nude, like they come with me because they like me, because they want someone they like and they feel like they can trust, obviously, because they're gonna do something very vulnerable. So the material world, the actual final product is not always what attract the clients.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to do that, because when I started off, for example, when I created my brand, I went like, kind of like a bit fancy but approachable, and a bit beige and a bit of green, and millennial green. Millennial, we all know about that now, I think. It's a thing, millennial green. I was kind of like, I guess, trying to think about who's the person that the people I want to hire me want to hire.
Yeah.
And then, especially through social media and through slowly finding my people, I realized, hang on a minute, I'm the person that people want to hire.
Yeah.
Why am I filtering myself? Why am I diluting myself? Why am I not being loud? Why am I not swearing? Why am I not being silly?
Yeah.
All these little things. And as soon as I started actually just be myself, which I kind of have to be, because that's what I help my client do. So I'm like, why am I not? Why am I trying to be business-like when I'm not business-like, for example? Then I start attracting my people. And not just my clients, but also like the right connections to work with, to collab with, to build something with. And that's really, I think, all it is.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. I think it's just about being authentic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Authentic to
100%.
to yourself, to what you stand for, and like you say, naturally, the right people you connect with, the right clients you connect with, because they're getting to see the real you, as opposed to this this branded version that you're creating for people.
But also, your client base is better as well, because yes, you might not have as many clients, but the ones you do have are the ones that you can relate to and work that way with it. It's hiring any kind of creative person for a business is a hugely personal thing, because the customer is letting you kind of into their world and hoping that you can see it the way they see it, and you can kind of share that vision. And we've had it before where we've looked at kind of videographers and photographers and things, and you don't just hire a videographer to come in and do something. You don't just hire a photographer to do that. It's like wedding photography. You need to get the right kind of feel from that person, because these are hugely personal moments that you want to look at back in the future and be really proud of them, be happy with what you've got. And if the creative person at the other end, the photographer, whoever, doesn't have that same vision, they're never going to be happy with the work, which means they're never going to then use it or promote it or anything else. So it has to be that agreement at the start. You have to get that feeling from both sides though as well. Like the same way I'm sure you get someone, you go maybe see someone and go, you don't quite get the right feeling from them, because again, down the line, that could make your life a lot harder.
That is another thing that I learned at the beginning. And I'm sure a lot of people that started a business probably have the same experience. You start a business and suddenly you're like, hang on a minute, I don't get a salary at the end of the month. So I actually have to outsource my own work. So you just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what I realized fairly quickly is that saying yes to everything just chips away at you. It really, really does. And I got to a point where I tell my partner all the time, and he doesn't always agree with me, but I always said, I'd rather be broke and counting my pennies than doing a job that I don't want to do. Because I went self-employed for many reasons. And one of the reasons is I want to work with the people that I want to work. So I don't have problem like firing clients. I really don't. So I'm very good at setting boundaries with my clients now. And I also ask my clients if they have boundaries that they want to set with me. That's absolutely fine, obviously. If someone I don't vibe with, in any photography, by the way, not just the intimate portraiture, not just the branding, for anything. If anyone kind of feels like a bit, let's say like a red flag, or makes me feel a bit uncomfortable in my body, like, when you feel it in your bones, I'm like, I don't think it's going to work. And if it's going to work, I usually, what I do is, if someone asks me to do a job, and this is usually maybe more for corporate, and I'm like, oh, this job is going to be an absolute nightmare. They're going to ask me for the moon, and they're going to moan about everything. You just know sometimes, I just quote very high. Yeah. I give them really high quote because there is a term for it in the industry, but I don't think I'm allowed to say it. It's a special rate. It's a special rate.
Can we say it off air?
It's a special rate.
Yeah, what's it called? Perfect.
Love it. But yeah, it's because I'm like, you know what? If I really have to do a job that I'm not going to enjoy, it's going to take lots of my energy, it's going to be a nightmare, let's say, I'll do it if I get paid lots of money.
Yeah. Do you know what I feel like that term, it spans across every business.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. I think everyone has that, we have the same.
Yeah.
So let's dive into photography. We've talked a lot about sort of like the entry point to it and all that kind of thing, which is hopefully some super great tips for people as well in a similar boat. You obviously cover a lot of different areas when it comes to photography. So we said that, like the wedding, the corporate stuff, the intimate portraits, which we're going to dive into a bit more in a bit. Was that always the plan to kind of, or did you sort of, was it an evolving, you started, sort of offering one and then it evolves?
No, I don't think it was ever really a plan. It's one of those things, I feel like people always tell you have to niche down. You have to niche down. Yeah. But I think the way that I am, I just can't niche down. I really think that I am a quite polyhedric photographer. I know how to use my kit and I know what I can do. And I'm also very honest about what I cannot do. Yeah. So if someone reach out to me asking me, can you do this job for me? If I can do it, I'll do it. This is how much I want to get paid. Yeah. I can do it. If you're going to pay me the money, I'll do it. Yeah. If someone reach out to me asking me, can you do something? And I'm like, actually, I don't have the right gear for it. I'm not really comfortable with this, using this many lights or whatever. I'll be very honest. I would be like, so I can either do it for you, but this way that works for me, I know to do it for this price. Yeah. Or I think, I recommend someone else, or just go and look for someone else, really. Yeah. I'm not really a blogger. I find it I can't do that. A lot of people. I
think that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, but a lot of people go really far. I think blagging it, learning on the job, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of them they all get found out in the end, especially now, like you were saying before. It's to a lot of people, it's very simple. Like I've got a camera, I've got this software. Obviously, don't even get me started on AI, but yeah, we're in a very difficult stage where, because everyone thinks they're professional because they've got the equipment and they can take a picture and it looks nice on their phone, looks nice, whatever, and then they start farming out for work, and then they very, very quickly come unstuck, I feel, because you have a professional like yourself who's been doing it a very long time, who's very qualified in what they do, and people who think because they've gone out and bought a nice camera, they can do the same. It very quickly comes clear who is the real professional here and who isn't. And they might get far for a certain period of time, but I think it's quite a short-lived thing, though, because they do get found out eventually.
I would say also as well, especially just, again, coming from the corporate marketing side, I think especially when it comes to brand shoots, I think you can really, really tell the difference with somebody that actually knows their stuff and has got experience in doing that. Then, even just in terms of even the pre-side of it, the type of questions they ask, the type of prep they do, all of that kind of thing. To me, I know when I was looking for somebody to work with, again, sort of red flags. But the other side, if there's somebody that, doesn't necessarily ask the right questions or even sometimes challenges you as a client, or have you thought about doing it this way? Like that's what you're looking for. That's, part of that sort of two-way relationship, isn't it? When you're working with somebody, it's what they're bringing to the table, that side as well.
And it's not just that, actually. Like, one thing that comes to mind is how, like, obviously, I'm in a lot of photographers groups on Facebook where people are like, hi, I'm looking for a photographer. This is my budget or whatever, and the competition is unreal. Someone would look for a wedding photographer, and in a space of 5 minutes, there are like 35 comments. People being like, "Oh, I'll do a whole day for £250 or whatever," and I'm like, "Well, obviously, I charge quite a lot more than that." I'm like, "How can you have a job? How can that be your job? Like, how are you making a living?" And that's the other things. And then there are other people, other times where someone will say, "Oh, we had a really cheap photographer for a wedding because we couldn't afford it, and it was horrible," and and I'm like, I forgot what I was getting there.
But I think the point is, like you were saying, that there's about the kind of the quality versus the price and things like that. It's not just you're an expensive photographer versus someone else being a cheap photographer. The reason, like, your cost hasn't come from those photos. It's come from your years of experience, everything you've done before now to get to here. That's what's added value to your service every year, every day, every week, whatever. The longer you've been doing that, the more value you're showing, which is why you're charging what you charge at the end of the day. I mean, we've noticed from people we've spoken to before about work or in previous lives, you kind of get those red flags before they've even got the camera out, whether they're going to be good or not, whether they're going to be what you actually need or not. Because, like I said, it's someone going, I can do it for you, I'll do it for £500. And for a job that I've been quoting maybe £3,500 somewhere else, you can very quickly go, I think I'm going to wait and just commit to the other one, because it's the quality of work at the end, everyone needs to be proud of, both sides.
Yeah.
And I think it's really hard to get that sometimes.
It's also, actually, I got my train of thought back after you said that. It's not just about the experience, because a lot of people have a lot of experience, but they might have imposter syndrome, or they might not see their value, and they might still charge very little. That is a big thing as well. But it's also about reliability, because I'm always questioning people, especially couples getting married. Someone, they have a very important celebrations or event that they want captured, is if you're going with someone that charges very little without saying whatever amount, do they have, are they going to have insurance? Are they going to have PLI, public liability insurance, which more venue would ask anyway, but a lot of venues don't ask, but they expect you to have it. Do they have free backups, so all your photos at all times? Do you do a contract with them? So all these things are also very important, and people don't consider them.
Yeah.
So,
oh no, definitely. I think, like I say, there's a lot of those kind of the other elements, isn't it? That we always say this. I think a lot of businesses, people, they don't necessarily appreciate all of the other costs and all of the other elements that kind of come into making it up as well. It's a very nice segue into that was seamless, wasn't it? Into, I guess, that background side of things. So for folks that from a photographer, maybe have in our heads what a typical week looks like for you and all of the behind the scenes kind of things. But what in your world, what does that look like? What does a sort of typical week look like?
Admin, and more admin. Honestly, that's the thing.
We all do the same job.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like when people say, "Oh, you're a photographer, that must be so fun," nervous laugh. Yes, it is fun, but honestly, like you were saying earlier, doing your actual job, being on a photo shoot, being on the field, actually working is maybe 20% of your time.
Yeah,
it's all the admin, so all the invoices, all the contracts, all the social media, all the back and forth, with people that want to hire you, but they're not really sure. I'm gonna tell you tomorrow. All these things, networking, meetings, planning. Yes, lots of admin.
Yeah.
A ridiculous amount of admin.
Yeah. But I think, like you say, that's the behind the scenes bit that maybe people don't think about.
No,
it's
they
just
don't think about it.
The physical kind of photography side.
Yeah.
While we're on a similar topic, I know I say this phrase all the time, which is I hate having my photograph taken, and I think there's probably a lot of people out there that are in a similar boat. What would you say to those people? Is there some advice that you could offer those kind of people?
Get a photographer that you vibe with.
Noted.
Most people have said that to me. Like most of my clients would say that to me. Even doing headshots, like doing headshot for big corporates.
Yeah, I used to hate
you
it.
know, you're doing like 50 people a day
Yeah.
or, you know, huge volumes. Most people were going to come into that door and be like, just, you know, I hate my photos taken. Just, you know, I'm not photogenic at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's all right. You know, have a sit, you know, what's your favorite music artist or whatever. And then they get a photo like, oh, that's actually quite nice. Yeah, I know. It's all right. You're welcome. It's honestly, I really think like it's, and I'm not saying I'm the right person for everyone.
Yeah.
People always say that I have a special power for making people feel at ease, which is great. I have no idea how I do it. No, but it's amazing. I'm really grateful. But I do think a lot of people maybe don't choose the right photographer for them. And it's also the level of, you know, if you don't feel comfortable in yourself in general, of course you're gonna struggle to have like a camera in your face because it is a very vulnerable thing. Even if it's just like on a day out with your friends. You know, if you're not really comfortable on who you are and what you look like, of course that's gonna be mirrored into every time, you know, it's gonna be present every time that you see yourself in a picture.
Yeah.
So that is also like an added element.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very, very common.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to switch now to weddings and events. So those you touched on a little bit before. Obviously, a super emotional day, hopefully in a good way for everybody, but very fast paced, very emotional. What do you enjoy most, I guess, about those kind of events? Those when you're capturing those.
I really like being around people. I love the connect with people, you know, like having the little chats. And it also like just capturing little moments when people are looking or not looking.
Yeah.
I always think I'm sneaky, but maybe I don't think I'm that sneaky.
I don't know. From experience of having you capture one of our recent events, we got the photos after. I was like, when did she take
really?
that? I was like, I didn't even know she like stealth. You were hanging from the ceiling or something. I don't know.
And that's quite impressive because it's actually like in a room.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It was in the office here, so it was.
Oh, nice.
It's not.
That's great feedback.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, I just like, it's just nice when people are having a nice time and you get to share that day with them and just like capture all these moments that they're going to be able to treasure forever. Yeah. I absolutely love it. Yeah, even corporate events.
Yeah.
Somehow, it's not like most people, I mean, a lot of time, most people don't want to be there.
Yeah, being forced to go to your corporate
it's just like, what I like is kind of like the challenge of having to capture all these little moments and showing the day as it was. You know, I really want the client to look back and be like, you capture everything perfectly. You know, I look at the pictures and it feels like I'm still there. That's always the goal, you know, because that's the job, really. And doing that in a picture, there's not even like a moving image, like a video. I think, you know, it is a challenge in itself, and I really, really like that. But from the emotional days, what I do like is the connection with people. You know, I like when people come out to me and come to have a chat, that's the best, because that means that I know that I'm doing a good job, because they want to come and talk to me, and that means that they're comfortable. Yeah. But also because, you know, if they come up, they always like, you know, or they offer me even like a drink. Whatever. If anytime they come up to me and ask me, have you eaten? Have you had a drink? I'm happy, because that means I'm working hard and I can see it.
Yeah.
So for me, that's perfect.
Yeah. No, I love that.
And have you ever had a shoot kind of on a wedding that maybe hasn't necessarily gone to plan, whether it's through weather or other circumstances? And how did you handle that one?
I'm trying to think, actually.
Maybe she hasn't had a shoot that's not gone to plan.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always little things that I go to plan at weddings, but they're usually like not. I mean, they're like out of my control.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of goes more into gossip. You know? So I'm not sure.
We're turning into that kind of podcast. But yeah, those things that you kind of like a timing thing, I suppose, or yeah.
I mean, I had a wedding where the mother of the groom disappeared. on purpose.
Ooh.
Well, she was like, if I'm not here, you can get married.
Wow. Okay. Did they find her?
Yes, they did find her.
Oh, much to her dismay, I can imagine.
Yeah, they did find her. They were not very happy. But yeah, no, I can't really think of anything that went particularly wrong photography-wise, actually.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to shift now into your inclusive, intimate portrait side of things, which is one area that makes you super unique. It's really cool. I must admit, when we were first chatting before, and you say about what you do and that sort of side of things, I was like, gosh, that's really amazing. Tell us a bit about that. What does that mean for? I mean, we maybe got a bit of an idea, but what does it actually involve? That side of things.
So intimate portraiture is basically a photography service that I offer to people to support them in the body confidence journey. Mm-hmm. So I work with people from all walks of life. It could be before or after, like giving birth. It could be like a big body change for any reason, after surgery, before surgery sometimes. They might want to take photos, have the photos of the body taken before, a surgery that's going to change the way that they're going to look. People that have like a past of domestic abuse or things like that, or just people that want photos of themselves as they actually are.
Yeah.
It's honestly like, it's the best thing I've ever done. I'm really, really proud of it. And it's just amazing work to do. I don't use any Photoshop. Just to be clear, I take photos of people in the nude, just in case that wasn't clear. Most of the time in the nude, not always. It's not mandatory. Most people, even when they don't think they will get naked, they're like, I'll be in lingerie or like underwear, whatever. They end up naked most of the time. But I don't Photoshop people. I don't pose them in a way that is unnatural.
Yeah.
And it's not for the male gaze. It's not sexual in any way. So it's not boudoir. I don't call it boudoir because to me it is completely different to that. And that's kind of why people come to me. Usually when people find me, they're like, I kind of wanted to do like a boudoir shoot, but then I looked it up and I found it like a bit too sexual or too posed, or like maybe like sometimes people say like it's a bit cringe for me. I wanted to be more natural, more organic, and then I found you like, That's what I want. Some people was like, oh, that's what my mum needed after their cancer treatment. Like stuff like that.
Yeah. That confidence. Yeah.
And it's for everyone. That's the thing as well. I believe that every single person would benefit from something like this. And I believe that every person deserves existing in pictures and existing in general in whatever way they look. That's so important to me. And because we are so used to see the same types of bodies from such a young age, it's really us to grow up thinking that you don't really have a space in the world in the way that you look.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we go and break.
Yeah.
And I have to say that most of the time people come to me already having done some work. So they're already kind of like, they are ready to do that, to make that step.
Yeah.
And it's mostly about celebration, acceptance, and just being like, you know what, actually, I look the way that I look, and that's fine. It's not just about self-love. Like I'm on my own journey. I've been on my journey now for a few years. And I wouldn't say I'm not like, I love my body, but I am body neutral at the moment. And that's where I'm at. I don't even know if I'm aspiring at loving my body because that's not the point. It's more like I don't spend most of my day thinking about how I look and worrying about how I look anymore. All that energy I can put into something else. And I feel like it's such a massive weight, brain weight that people have and live daily, that they could get rid of and actually reach their true potential.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Wow.
I got really excited.
Good. No, that's
you can tell, and I think it's amazing to hear that. Honestly, I think it's incredible. I think to offer something like that for people, to give people that space. Like you say, to celebrate themselves regardless of whatever point they are at in that journey. It's like a ever evolving thing, isn't it? I think especially from a female perspective as well. I think a lot of things change, whether you have children, whether you don't, you know, all of the different things, you know, hormones as you go on as well. And I think to have for people to trust you to, you know, to have that kind of session with them, I think that must be incredible.
It is. I feel very grateful. Yeah. I've honestly, like, sometimes, you know, you cannot get on with your things, right? You get sucked into your business and you're always busy and you just kind of get a bit, I guess, tunnel vision on all the things you have to do. And then sometimes I have to actually take the time to stop and think. Yeah. And that's when I'm like, you know what, actually, I'm so lucky that I'm able to do this. And I mean, both from a perspective of having the ability to create a safe space for people of being vulnerable and trusting me, but also that I do actually have people that come and trust me and want to work with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And what, I guess the biggest thing I think I'd love to know is what inspired you to get into that type of photography?
It also kind of happened a bit overnight. No, like organically. And not organically, it kind of just happened, really. When I went self-employed 3 years ago, I was sort of thinking, what am I going to do? You know, at the time I was like, should I do only weddings? Should I do only events? Should I niche down? Because I was thinking with my business head, not with my, this is who I am head, which is who I am is I want to do everything because I like keeping it creative. And what happened is a friend of a friend wanted to do a shoot in the nude. And my friend was like, I think Luana would be great at that. So we just got in touch and they were like, you know, I got out of like a long-term relationship and I didn't feel very good about myself and now I'm feeling better and I want to celebrate that. And I did tell them at the time, you know, obviously I don't have experience. Like, again, like I said before, I'm very honest. I don't really have experience taking photos of people in the nude. And I also don't really feel comfortable like with the whole boudoir thing. So I wouldn't want it to be like very posed and polished, you know. I would like to show you as you are. And so if that's okay with you, then I'm happy to go ahead. And they were like, no, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. So it's just like, you know, I just went to the house and we spent the whole afternoon together. And when I was doing it, it's like, for me, there's always like kind of like a moment, like a light bulb moment when you see the person in front of you, like there's like a switch. And it's kind of when they go from, this is a bit awkward.
This is terrifying, yeah.
I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone here. Help. To, I am amazing, actually. I'm going to look in the camera like, I want to eat you. You know, it's honestly, there's like this switch. And that was kind of like, I think, the moment for me when I was like, you know what, actually, that's going to be my niche. That's going to be what I'm gonna really build up. That's gonna be what I will focus on. And the thing is, I actually, because I was on my own body confidence journey, it kind of like came back to me how I've used photography like for a long time in my life and self-portraiture to like go through stages of my life. And I've always used it as an introspective way to like connect with myself. So I would use self-portraiture like after a breakup, for example, if was a hard time, mostly in like maybe difficult times, actually, to be honest. Because the thing is, when you're having a really hard time, it's really hard to, I guess, it's really hard to connect with yourself deeply. And taking self-portraits and then seeing myself from a different angle, you know, from like an outside perspective, it did really help me. It was really helping me actually connecting more with what I was feeling and why. And, you know, it was like a moment of growth. So that kind of like, you know, I kind of connected the dots. I was like, hang on a minute. So I actually been doing that for a long time because I did it like since I was like maybe like a late teenager, and I did it a lot when I was at university. And then today, or, you know, like recently, I took photos of someone in the nude and it seemed to work for them. So maybe this actually can work for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give it a go because I think so many people could benefit from this. So I'll do it.
And what's it been like seeing people's reactions to your work when they've then, you know, they've done the shoot, they've got over all that and they're And you send them the pictures. What's that been like?
So that's really interesting because actually a lot of people ask me that. And in a way, the final product is not where the magic happens. So, you will think, you get a photo shoot done, and then when you see the photos, you're like, wow, I'm amazing. But actually, that happens during the session. Most of the time, that happens during the session. So it's more the act, I guess, of bearing it all, pun intended, in front of somewhat stranger. At least there's a lot of work that we do before we get to that point. And being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be completely your true self without any filters, without anything really, just yourself. That's where I see people actually having the biggest shift. Oh, wow. And I've had clients, I love this, I always say this, I always tell this story. I had clients that, like, after the shoot, when I was like, a few months after, whatever, I'm like, oh, like, your photos are ready. Do you want to do like a gallery reveal, like a video reveal together? Or do you want to see it in your own time? And if you need any support, you just let me know. I had people being like, oh my gosh, I forgot I was going to get some photos. Because I think they're so happy. And, they're already so much of a benefit that it's kind of like gone, that's gone now. It's like, oh, I'm gone. Nice. It's like a gift. It's like Christmas today. So I do really think that the main work happens during the session. But it's also always nice. I do like it when people ask me to have a video call reveal so we can have a look at the photos together, because it's just let them scrolling through the photos and me be like, and I might just like, a bit like my big guy just looking at them, just, you can just see like their face light up, and yeah, it's also very nice.
And what kind of advice would you give to someone who's maybe thought about doing something like that, but is still super nervous, super shy, super scared of what it might be, and like what kind of thing do you say to them to say it's worth trying or something?
It's a good question. It is tricky because I think that people will find me and will come and work with me when they're ready. Even when you're not the thing is, you can be super nervous and not sure, but still be ready to make that step. Yeah. And it's important that people are comfortable making that step. But I do, like, what I would say is, like, personally, I offer always like an introduction call. So, because it's also for me. I want to also see who I might be working with, because I might be like, I'm not the right person for you, for example.
And that goes back to the previous conversation where if you don't get that kind of connection, and especially with this, it's such a personal, literally intimate situation that they need to have full trust in you in the same way you need to make sure that you're going to work with them as well. So,
yeah, 100%. But I would say that it's definitely something that would benefit everyone. I was going to say most people. I was like, scrap that. Everyone. Yeah.
Amazing. So zeroing in on Ely for a second. Obviously, that's where you're based. Being on the Made in Ely podcast, we couldn't not cover this. So from a business perspective, from a personal perspective, what do you love most about living in Ely, the business being based here? Is it a good community for you? What are the kind of the best highlights for you?
That is also a very good question. I'll tell you why. Until recently, very sillily, I have not been advertising myself locally at all.
Wow.
I know. Shocking.
My God.
It is shocking. I don't know why. I think it comes from when I was building up the business at the beginning, I thought, well, what I offer, probably, I should advertise, I should like target London, because London is full of like quirky people. I don't know. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
And also millions of them.
Yeah.
So surely I should do that. And then I find myself traveling all the time and be like, why am I doing this to myself? I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So very recently, I've actually started thinking, hang on a minute, surely there are people locally that I can help, right? Why am I limiting myself in a way just to going far away all the time instead of looking closer to home? So I've started going to networking events, like I met you lovely guys, connect with like business owners that are more local. And it's been brilliant, actually. I do think it is actually such a lovely place to be. I think maybe because it is a small city as well, like people are generally looking for that connection. And I find it also people are very friendly in general. Even when I moved there on a let's say non-business related, but even when I moved there a few years ago, I right away felt like it was such a friendly environment to live in. And I like that there are so many small businesses, so many lovely coffee shops. You cross paths with someone in the evening and, they say hello to you. And it's really nice because I grew up in a very small village in Italy, and it was the kind of community where literally everyone knows everyone, to the point that there's no chance of being naughty outside the house because your mom will find out about it. You know what I mean?
Very fun.
So in a way, I feel like maybe that's kind of like I've kind of moved back, back like to my roots, and it's really, really nice.
That's good. I know definitely we've felt the same. I think from a community side, from a business side, I think people have been really welcoming, really supportive, and I think, like you say, regardless if you're in the same industry or you've really got that kind of community feel from a personal side, but also from a business side as well. People are really kind of happy to be champions, I think, for each other.
Yes, 100%, and I don't know. There's just something about it.
Yeah, it's
maybe just where all the cool people move.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just feels like everyone here is rooting for each other as opposed to competing with each other. Because from our perspective, starting a business here is always daunting because you don't know if you're going to tread on someone's toes or if you're going to upset the neighbours and all those kinds of things. And you could so easily do it and then do it wrong and get people rubbed up the wrong way or create enemies that you didn't even know existed. Where everyone here has been, just from like opening this place, people like you coming down all the time and supporting us, everyone's been so amazing with that. And it's definitely an Ely thing that you don't get in other places from where I've worked and where I've grown up previously. Like it's a very unique thing to Ely, which is what makes it so great, that everyone is so happy to collaborate and work together and promote each other. And even if it's like those two services don't align and there's no way they could ever help each other out financially or through business, they'll still promote each other. They'll still talk about each other. They'll still push, like I said, champion them. And I think that's what's great about here. That's why we love doing this here as well, because there's so many wonderful people that we see every day that we didn't know about until this. But then it's really fun kind of just promoting it all.
You get to work together, which is
Yeah.
Very exciting. So we are almost coming to the end of the podcast, which is sped by. I don't know. So we're gonna jump into the quick fire round. I feel we need a little jingle for the quick fire round. So we're going to try and actually make it quick fire because we never do, but we will try to.
Yeah.
So James and I are going to alternate some questions for you. Are you ready?
No.
We're going anyway. Right. So first question: favourite place to photograph? I thought that's a bit of an unfair one because that's a big.
Not very quick, is it? What do you mean? See, that's my brain is very.
Oh, so place as in well, given
location.
let's say like, so. I mean, given the fact of your recent trip, like a physical location, if you like. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Oh, I mean, it's a bit weird, but I was saying people's homes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because I do that a lot with my intimate portraits, and I really like going into people's houses and, help them kind of, reframe their house as a place of empowerment. And everyone's house is different. The lighting is always different. So it can be very challenging creatively. So I would say that. So it's not a specific place, but yeah.
No, I love that. And everyone's house, place of empowerment. I love that.
I feel like I pulled the short straw on these quickfire questions because the ones that Catherine has all seem quite deep and meaningful. And I have sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. Yeah, golden hour. Oh, I'm a sucker for a sunset. I love a sunset.
What's one? So, dream person or event to photograph?
Pedro Pascal. I would say Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
Yes, why not? Why not? I mean, he's my was one of my biggest crushes, and I will it photographs very well.
Okay.
And I think it would be very interesting. Yes.
Okay, lovely.
Nice. Back to my more in my deeper questions.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee. Yeah.
That's
Good,
easy.
Good.
Sorry.
That's also
took a bit.
correct.
Okay, so last
This is
one of the
so
quick.
rigged, this
last,
round.
you know, I put the order in. Last quick fire round. One piece of advice for anyone thinking about starting their own business.
Make sure you have some savings. I'm going to be very practical. 100%.
We like
Make sure you have some
Yeah.
savings.
Okay.
You know, like if you can save up enough to live out of it for a year, I know it's a lot of money probably,
Yeah.
but then at least you don't have like the added pressure when you have to make difficult decisions and, you know,
Yeah.
and you have to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So finally, what's coming up for you like in the next few weeks or months? Any big events or big things to talk about?
No, it's a short question. No, actually, there is one thing I can mention, but it will have happened by the time the podcast go out. I'm gonna be at a festival next month as a speaker in a panel about not shrinking. And also, I will do one of my group nude shoots, which we haven't talked about. But briefly, I have done a couple of guerrilla group nude shoots in London as acts of activism, where I have fully naked women at the crack of dawn in the middle of London in front of very famous landscapes to promote body autonomy. It was amazing.
Wow.
But I will be doing one at the festival as part of the festival. So it's the first time I actually have permission to do this, which is great because it opens so many doors. Like creatively, you know, I'm not going to be on, you know, tight on time.
Yeah.
I can actually, I know that everyone is definitely not going to get arrested.
Yeah.
So
Always a
it's going to
plus.
be really exciting. But more locally, what I really want to expand on is I really want to work with more business owners whose values align with mine. So I'm looking for women business owners or any business owner actually who have a job, who have a business that empower individuals, empower other people like I do. And I want to have more branding sessions. I do offer branding photography as well, with my intimate portraits, and I love that too. I love helping people with their brand. I love having people who want to actually show up as they are for the brand instead of performing. And, you know, coming from, I used to perform and now I show up as I am. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I can be your bestie. I can guide you and give you a hand. And it's really something that I want to do more of locally. And I'm sure there's so many probably business owners out there that are thinking, I really need some photography.
Yeah.
Hello. Drop me a line.
and that leads us beautifully into how can these people drop you a line? How can they get in touch with you? Where can we find you?
So my Intimate Portraits website is www.intimateportraitsbylu.com. And I'm also on Instagram with @intimateportraits_bylu. And my regular photography, if anyone wants to have a look at my event photography, weddings or editorial stuff, it's www.luanaburton.com. 100% because of Tim Burton. It was my nickname at university, and when I moved there, I just thought it was a lot easier to remember than Martignon. So I just kept it. It's got a nice flow to it.
Love that. Okay, and we'll obviously link it all
Thank you.
in the episode as well, for people can come and find you.
Yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. It's amazing work that you do. Obviously, we've benefited from it firsthand as well, and hopefully we'll do some more in the future. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. That was a lot of fun.